Hey, it's Jason ODB from OLP. This is Truckin Magazine. They labeled it Fall 2003. And if you look here, I remember there was one year it seemed like they did an extra issue somehow instead of 12. I don't know if in 03 they did, but kind of odd. But basically, 2003 issue of Truckin towards the end of the year says display till 10/14/03. So, about September issue, technically. This one is a gem. I'm going to just look at one feature today. If you look at how many pages these things were, well over 400 pages. I mean, dude, there's a lot of gold in a subscription to Truckin in this era. Here you have the famous dually, which is featured in here. That was Scooby's dually. Gotta always remember Scooby and Duck had some sick stuff, but that's featured. But for today, we're gonna look at this one badass Suburban that was owned and built by Jake Mooney. So one bad bagged bourbon. I remember I've told this story a couple times. When this thing was for sale, I really should have bought it back in the sport truck era days, maybe even street scene. But man, just such a badass bourbon. I had a blue 95. This thing was a little bit earlier model, and man, it just has everything going for it. So blue, it was blue for a long time. Then they painted the flames on it. So I think good color contrast. You can see here, real clean engine bay. Also a belt-driven compressor. You didn't see that too often. You still see them here and there, but that's basically like unlimited air right there, which I think is pretty awesome. It could be used as backup. It could be used as your main air source. You can see here they basically mentioned Travis and Sean Holman. They saw it at Greenville 03. I saw it there as well. I got a chance to see it at Indy Bash as well, 01, 02, when my buddy Russ and I went. Just a killer truck. Not only is it laid out, it's traditional body drop, which I love. It's got the caddy tail lights. If you look in the back here, you can see a couple compressors, a couple air tanks. You see how they built up the stereo kind of stuff around. Had the old school flip out TVs, which were popular in that era. Different hood. And you can see some of the details there. You see the NC logo that a lot of guys had at that time on the windshield. You got the Escalade front end, again, the caddy tails. You can see there, Big Jake's drop shop. Now, one of my favorite mods on these trucks is, and you don't see them a ton, suicide doors on the rear. So you can see they both opened up, front and rear, perfectly. You can, again, as I said, a traditional body drop, but I tell you what, I love these trucks, even traditional body drop. This guy, Jake, my understanding, drove this thing everywhere. Other thing I like is the overhead console. They put the gauges. So probably tank pressure and then front and rear. And pretty clean interior. I've tagged him a couple times via Instagram on some photos I've taken. Just being one of my favorite trucks, SUVs, if you will. But, of course, billet wheels on it. Those are the Boyd Shadows. Again, the older style dash, of course, an earlier year model. Plenty of billet pieces, but also super clean. I love these dashes when they're painted. It's got the console there. You can kind of see a few more details. Cat skin, it looks like. What do you guys think of this one? The tag end deeper. Of course, he was from Michigan, old school mini trucker, and he always chimes in on our posts. It says thanks for the memories. But I tell you what, man, I sometimes kick myself for not buying this thing, man. It just was an awesome cruiser. I probably would have had less in getting this versus finishing my bourbon. I think it would have had a real nice price tag back in the day on it, if I remember correctly. It's like 10, 15 grand, something like that. Maybe even a little less. I can't remember exactly. But again, shout out to Travis and Sean Holman. Dan Ward did the write-up. Really, really killer. And again, this is the fall 03 issue. Lots more to come from this issue and others. Hopefully, if you were impacted by the hurricane, I hope you guys are okay. Stay on the rise, and we'll hit you guys with more content here. Keep it locked to OLP. We got you. Peace.